Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that might actually surprise you: the sheer massive scale of Taekwondo, and a really profound philosophical argument for its ultimate global destiny. When most of us think of martial arts, we picture physical fitness, self-defense, or maybe just a fun after-school activity for the kids. But the source material we are unpacking today says, hold on a second, it's way bigger than that. It proposes that Taekwondo is an unfinished global project, one that is uniquely positioned to shape the minds of future global leaders. So let's quickly outline our roadmap. We're going to cover the global Taekwondo phenomenon, its post-World War II rapid expansion, and then look into the missing ideological core. From there, we'll enter the Hongik philosophy, track the shift from martial art to discipline, and finally reveal a path to global peace. We've got a ton of fascinating ground to cover, so let's jump right in. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the global Taekwondo phenomenon. It is incredibly easy to underestimate the reach of this practice if you only view it as a neighborhood sport. But across 205 member countries, there are a staggering 200 million people practicing this single martial art right now. This isn't just a popular hobby, it's a globally unified network. In fact, it holds the record for the highest number of member countries for a single sporting discipline. The source points out that this worldwide enthusiasm, this global fever for Taekwondo, carries a much deeper significance than just breaking boards and staying fit. To really put those numbers into perspective, that global practitioner population of 200 million, it's actually 4 times larger than the entire population of Taekwondo's country of origin, South Korea. With South Korea having roughly 50 million citizens, this martial art has literally outgrown its own borders to become a truly global asset. The argument here is that this isn't just South Korea's martial art anymore, it belongs to humanity. So how did it get so big? That brings us to Section 2, post-WWII rapid expansion. The timing of Taekwondo's spread is definitely not a coincidence. It's actually tied to a 70-year period of global reorganization following the Second World War. While various martial arts from different cultures began to expand globally, Taekwondo absolutely dominated. It captured a massive 70% share of global martial arts expansion, compared to just 30% for all other martial arts combined. Think about that for a second. If you added up the global expansion of every other martial art in the world, they wouldn't even reach half of Taekwondo's footprint. The source argues that this unmatched monopoly is absolutely no accident. This massive base was built for a specific reason, firmly positioning Taekwondo as the prime vehicle to lead future generations globally. The physical groundwork has been laid over the last 70 years in almost every corner of the earth. But as we're about to see, physical presence alone just isn't enough. And that brings us to the catch, Section 3, the missing ideological core. Despite these mind-blowing numbers and unparalleled global reach, the practice completely skipped over a critical developmental milestone. While physical expansion boomed post-WW2, the turn of the millennium was a massive missed opportunity. Around the year 2000, Taekwondo should have established a deep, unifying ideological foundation to match its physical spread. But it didn't. Because it missed that crucial window to define its deeper purpose, it finds itself stuck in the present day purely as a physical sport. So what's the fallout from that missed opportunity? Well, because the ideological shift didn't happen, the focus remained entirely on physical technique and athletic competition. Consequently, Taekwondo largely devolved into a children's physical activity. Think about the typical practitioner today. It's mostly kids learning kicks and earning belts. And what happens when those kids grow up? Without a deeper mental or spiritual philosophy to hold onto, they simply age out and abandon the practice. Very few adults maintain a lifelong dedication because those intellectual hooks just aren't there. So what is the fix? Let's dive into Section 4. Enter the Hongik philosophy. What exactly is this missing ideology that should have been introduced at the millennium to prevent this huge drop-off? The speaker argues passionately that Taekwondo must be grounded in the Hongik ideology. Hongik is a profound concept centered entirely on humanitarianism. It's about acting not for oneself, but for the broad benefit of all humanity. The source emphasizes that we are actually growing into a Hongik era today, where we desperately need globally minded leaders who operate from a place of universal love rather than just selfish competition. Integrating this philosophy changes absolutely everything. It transforms Taekwondo from a simple physical workout into a necessary training ground for true global leaders. The source makes it crystal clear. The physical expansion, that was just phase 1. Phase 2 is utilizing that massive global network to instill the Hongik philosophy, actively training millions of people not just to punch and kick, but to lead their communities with a mindset dedicated to human progress and peace.
Let's unpack this necessary shift in Section 5, from martial art to discipline.
To fully grasp this, we need to compare two distinct concepts from the source material. It's really where the physical meets the mental. First, we have musul, which translates to martial technique. This is exactly where Taekwondo is right now, focused on the physical sport and largely targeted at kids. But then we have Mudo, the martial way. This is the goal. Mudo represents a focus on mental discipline, spirituality, and lifelong practice designed for adults and true leaders. The problem is that Taekwondo expanded globally as musul, completely failing to spread the spirit of Mudo. The source emphasizes this evolution beautifully. If practitioners just stop at physical technique, they remain mere martial artists, capable physically for sure, but limited. To reach their true potential, they have to become practitioners of the martial way. That means embracing the deep spiritual and mental responsibilities that come with the Hongik philosophy. It's a necessary graduation from physical mastery to societal mastery. So how do we get there? The speaker lays out very direct, actionable steps for the current generation, from youth to seniors. First, acknowledge that the physical sport alone has its limits. Second, actively study and integrate the Hongik humanitarian philosophy into daily practice. And third, use that mental discipline to evolve into a global leader. The source specifically calls on adults and older generations to return to the practice, not for the cardio workout, but for this vital mental conditioning. Where is all this heading? Let's wrap up with Section 6, a path to global peace. Let's look at the ultimate grand vision here. What happens if 200 million people actually make this mental transition? The source believes that right now, because practitioners act purely as martial artists, they hit a ceiling, a 70% physical limit where they just can't climb any higher in societal impact. But by embracing the Hongik philosophy, they smash right past that limit. They elevate themselves to become interconnected global leaders sharing a unified mental discipline. And because the core tenet of Hongik is benefiting humanity, this 200 million strong network is uniquely positioned to actively drive a worldwide peace movement. They literally become the vanguard of global unity. So, I'll leave you with this one provocative thought to consider. We're looking at a pre-built global network of 200 million individuals across 205 countries. The physical infrastructure is already there, it's done. The only question now is, will Taekwondo remain a childhood pastime, capping its potential as a mere physical sport? Or will it finally embrace the Hongik philosophy, evolving into the ultimate mental discipline designed to forge the global leaders and peacemakers of tomorrow? According to our source, the choice we make will determine the future of the practice itself.